Here we have a departure from the norm for me. I've been invited to restore this three-wheeled Victorian tricycle, and as you can see, it hasn't got an engine, but it should be challenging and I'm looking forward to the challenge. Something I haven't done in a long time, but will be required quite a lot for this bicycle, as Victorian bicycles and high wheelers, the penny farthing, most of the parts were forged. The skill of these people was just frightening, and as I say, I haven't done this in a while, so there'll be quite a few errors and maybe one or two attempts that go slightly awry, I would have thought. Still, nice to have a go. First thing I'm going to have a go at is the handlebar levers for the brakes. Here you can see me flattening out to produce a blade at the end of the lever, not just have a round bar. It's to give it a bit of shape. I'm also using a light hammer here for no other reason that it's been a long time and I doubt if I could swing a heavy one. Also, you don't move the metal as much, so it's not quite as easy to make mistakes by overhitting, and you get a better finish. Anyway, as you can see, get the metal hot enough in the forge and beat it into shape. A lot of the parts for this tricycle are missing, so a lot of it will be paper templates and a bit of guessing. I've researched on the internet basic shapes and how linkages worked, so this is my attempt to think like a Victorian. As you can see here, I'm trying to match the two levers so that they look the same, give a bit of symmetry to the bike. The other end of the lever is squared off to act as a fulcrum for the rest of the linkage. As you can see here, it's a shame the camera doesn't show it. It's just a glowing blob there at the moment, but I am trying to put a bit of square shape into it. I then have to produce a curve that matches the handlebar shape, so it was fun. This bit here reminded me of the old saying, too many irons in the fire. I only call it just in time. If you leave the iron in the fire too long, it will actually catch and burn, and obviously it's ruined. So the whole trick is to try and put as many irons in the fire that you can work on, so that when you finish on the first one, the next one's ready for working before it gets too hot. Luckily this one was just on the point of catching. As you saw with the first strike of the hammer there, all the bits flew off it. That is the actual metal flakes burning as they leave the bar. But as I say, lucky enough I caught this one in time and I was able to save it. Most annoying. This one, as you say, didn't shoot a load of sparks into the air. This is because it's at a nice working temperature. This is what I have to try and aim for each time I use the hammer. And of course, dropping it on the floor doesn't help either. Luckily it didn't catch anything on fire, so got away with it. With the basic shape forged, it was time to make up the little tabs that will actually hold it onto the handlebars, like a hinge point. I dare say in the originals that was forged into the brake lever, but I'm afraid I'm not that good. So I've made up these little tabs and I shall TIG weld them into place. Here you can see me putting the lever into position and marking where the little tab has to be welded on. These levers of course will have to be all polished out and made nice. Remove all the little hammer blow marks. I might even have a go at nickel plating them. Probably a dull nickel finish. Some of the components on the bike have this dull nickel finish on them, the hubs of the wheels for instance. So it might be worth a go to try and get an authentic finish on them. Here you can see me using a paper template for the first part of the linkage. Also gives you an idea of what the handlebar brake lever is going to look like. This is the second linkage, the one on the lower section of the frame. It goes to the back brake, and believe it or not, the back brake on these little bikes were band brakes, so quite sophisticated for its time. It also has suspension on the front forks, a bit like a Honda 50. So nothing new under the sun. Here we have a picture of the lower brake linkage, forged out in much the same way, and this is the front brake forging. You can see they look quite rough at first, but they polish up well. Thankfully my hammer blows weren't too deep, so a little bit of rubbing back with the flap wheel took most of the marks out. Again, these will be finished properly for plating later on. There's no point in getting carried away here and then having to modify them later. And a quick slip on the belt sander for all those little bits that you can't get to. Again, just keeping the surface flat, giving a true representation of what it looks like. There we are, bottom linkage in place. Not too bad, quite happy with the way it turned out. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.